Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to a short and sweet idea towards Chag Shavuot. This time, I'm standing on my balcony at home in Efrat, overlooking Beit Lechem, and on a clear day from beyond Beit Lechem, in the east, one can see Harei Moav, and that's where the story is taking place. The story of Ruth, which we're going to Megilat Ruth, that we're going to read on Shavuot, is all about coming from Beit Lechem. That's the first pasuk. They come from Beit Lechem, and the Ephratins, that is in the second pasuk, and they're on their way to Harei Moav, which is beyond the horizon here, which is also beyond the Jordan River. What is going on here in this wonderful story of Megilat Ruth, and why are we learning it now on Shavuot? What is so special about Shavuot? It happened actually here in this place where I'm standing now. The whole story put together is a very interesting story, because it's all about the good and the bad. It's not so clear. It's simple people doing simple things, and from those simple things, what comes out is something amazing. Malchut Beit David, because the Megillah ends with Yishai Holidet David, that in the end of the story, we have a Jewish kingdom, Jewish sovereignty, we have a king, David HaMelech, Chai V'Kayam, and it all starts here in these fields, Sdot Beit Lechem, this time of year, which is Chag HaKatzir. It is the time of reaping, of harvesting, also the Seorim, the barley, and also after Shavuot we start the wheat, and this is the festivity, what we're talking about. But why? First of all, in the Torah, a few times there were famines, and people had a starvation. And what did they do? They went down to Egypt, because Egypt has the Nile, and the river Nile irrigates the soil. So in Egypt, they can always find food. It's in the land of Israel that we need the grain. And therefore, why did they go to Moab? Moab has the same climate and the same irrigation problems that we have here in Israel, in this side of the Jordan. Why would they go down to Egypt like Abraham did, like Yaakov did, like many did in the Tanakh when they had a famine in the land of Israel? And that's an interesting question. At the end of the day, we find also that the mother of our future king is from Moab. Ruth herself is from Moab. What is there in Moab which should capture our mind, we should understand? So we have to go all the way back to the days of Abraham Avinu, the days of Abraham, that he took care of his nephew called Lot. And he gave Lot whatever he needed, and at a certain point there was a fight between his workers and his workers, and they had to separate. And Abraham says to him, you choose. Here we've come to the land of Israel, and it is promised to me, but I want you to choose. We have to separate. You can turn right or left. And he chooses to go to Sodom, even though it says already in the pasuk, "V'anashim ra'im la'Hashem me'od." Chataim, they are wicked people. In what way are they wicked people? Nowadays, when we talk about sodomy and Sodom and all these things, we think of sexual perversions. But actually, when it doesn't mention at all, not even a hint, any sexual perversions. All it says is in Pirkei Avot, we know, Sheli Shelcha, V'Shelcha Shelcha Chasid. If everything belongs to you, it's a chesed. I'm giving you everything. I don't need anything. Everything's you. If I say Sheli, Sheli, mine is mine, V'Shelcha Sheli, everything you, that's a negative person. He's an egocentric person. He wants everything to be around him. But whoever says Sheli, Sheli, V'Shelcha Shelcha, what is mine, yours is yours. That's a midah beinonit, and Chazal says, in which way is it midat Sdom? Because that was the law in Sdom. Lot saw this Sdom, and he saw there that there's a special law. The law is whatever is mine, whatever is yours, and there's no interaction, there's no tzedakah, there's no concept of giving. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees there's a piece of land where the inhabitants do not have at all the concept of giving, which is exactly the opposite of Avraham Avinu, who is all the time chesed and giving and giving and giving. The minute there are people who have this ideology of anti-chesed, anti-giving, the only solution is gofrit v'melach sreipa kol hatzah. It has to be destroyed, has to be burnt, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroys it completely. The only people who get out are 4 people: Lot and his wife and his 2 daughters. They're told not to turn back. His wife turns back. So there are only 3 people who have survived Sodom. So Lot and his 2 girls, and they went into a cave to save themselves. And in this cave, something very weird happens. The girls think that that's it. The end of the world has come, but we want to procreate. The only person we can procreate with is our father. So they give him some wine, so they get drunk, and then the night they procreate with the father, and 2 children are born. Who are the 2 children? Ammon and Moab. Why do they do it with the father? Because that's all we have. All we have is the father. We won't ask for others. We look for husbands. And this ideology of Sodom continued to exist through the children. Those children, Ammon and Moab. How do we know? Because when it comes to Sefer Dvarim, we're told we can convert a person from Amalek. We can, even though they persecute us. We can convert somebody from Egypt, even though they threw our children into the river Nile. We cannot convert a person from Ammon and Moab. Why? Because when we came out of Egypt, they didn't offer us water and bread. Why didn't they offer us bread? Because because we're not givers. We don't people are not givers. We don't want to marry them. We don't want them married into us. Who are the givers? Who are the providers? The men. That's what the Gemara in Yevamot tells us. The men are the providers, and therefore it's Moavi v'lo Moavit, Ammoni v'lo Ammonit. The women can be accepted. And for Ruth, who grew up in this ideology, even though she grew up in this ideology, she becomes a widow herself, and she lives with Ruth, with Naomi, who is a widow as well, her mother-in-law, and they're very, very poor. But because they're very poor in Moab, nobody gives him a time of day. Nobody gives him a cent. Because why? Because mine is mine and yours is yours. They know the only hope is going back to Beit Lechem. Because they know in Beit Lechem, especially at this season, when they are eating the corpse, there are Chamesh Matanot Aniyim. There are 5 types of special awards, special tzedakah one gives to Ami. 3 of them have got to do with harvesting the wheat and the barley. So they know if they go back to Beit Lechem, they can collect these 3 special presents that are given as tzedakah to the Aniyim, and therefore they came back to Beit Lechem. When do they come back to Beit Lechem? The beginning of the harvest time, because then they know they can get some food, get something to eat, get some kind of Beit Lechem. It's a very long story short. They ran away to Moab because Elimelech was very rich and he didn't want to support all the people during the famine. So what did he do? He took his children and went to a non-Jewish place, which is anti-chesed. First thing is, he lost both his children because they both married out. And then the third thing is, he dies himself. And his children die. So who was left? Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth. Orpah is sort of named Neck. Oref is the next. She turned her back. She didn't go with her back to Beit Lechem. But Naomi and Ruth came back to Beit Lechem in order to gather these things, because they understood here's a land of chesed. And then later on, Boaz accepts her as an act of chesed. And all these acts of chesed are the way our David HaMelech started his life. He only came into being because his great-great-grandfather was Boaz, great-great-grandmother was Ruth. So this is all happening here. And just before we end Sfirat HaOmer, the last day of Sfirat HaOmer is Malchut Sheba Malchut. We have in mind that we are creating here Jewish sovereignty, Jewish kingdom, and we know that Mashiach Mitzvah Hashem will also be from the descendants of David HaMelech b'mheira b'yameinu.